Welcome to Cannabis Conversations. I am your host, Sean Welsh. I am so excited to bring you episode number 2. Anyone who checked out episode 1, you got a little background who I am, why I'm in this industry, how long I've been in this industry. Yes, it is not my full-time job, but it is a part-time passion of mine that has been going on for north of 30 years, I think, at this point. So, look, today is an important thing for me. Not only is it show number 1 from a guest perspective, but this particular guest, I have been watching and learning from for quite a while. It's someone that I believe is making such a difference in what we're doing. And after a little pre-show discussion, I see that it's about elevating the plant that we're all here about. And whether you're watching this today as a consumer, as someone in the business, someone considering being in the business, the man you want to know right here, my man, Dustin. Dustin, how are you today?
I'm good, Sean. Thanks for having me, brother.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate it. Dustin is the CEO, well, not CEO, sorry, specifically it's founder and editor at large, Fat Nugs Magazine, which he has on hand with him right at the rip of a hand. He's got him up for you if you haven't checked it out. I told him pre-show that I view him as our generation's Hugh Hefner. Look at these magazines. Look how beautiful they are. So well curated. Gosh, bravo, dude. Bravo to all of it. Your art, your thought process. So as I said, the Hugh Hefner of weed is here. I want to ask him a few questions before we get into what he's looking to talk about. Dustin, first of all, why start Fat Nugs Magazine?
First of all, the Hugh Hefner of weed is fucking hilarious. I'll take some of that cash at some point. That would be dope. What'd you say, man?
You haven't heard that before?
No, that's the first time. That's the first time I've ever heard that.
I love delivering unique content. So there we go. Yeah. Perfect.
I appreciate it. So good question. The magazine was sort of an accident, to be honest with you. But as soon as it got going, I realized that it was necessary for a lot of different reasons. And I had people really talking to me from all different directions and telling me, look, keep doing this because what you're doing is filling an enormous gap that we have in the space and sort of that grassroots and someone that is really, that comes from the smaller side of things, sort of the home grow caregiver side of things. And really that was sort of the reasoning behind the entire Fat Nugs push over the past, 21 months at this point, almost 2 years.
It feels like longer than that. I mean, just because I feel like I've been seeing it everywhere, and you have such great engagement online. The people of your community that you have built are really, really, really solid. And it looks like the supporters you have, the people you send out, right? Your journalists, the people you do business with. Is that something that you've hand curated over the years? How did that group of people that work with you? Because I know it's not just you, right? You're the editor at large, but there's a team of people who make this shit happen. What's that been like? And I mean, how did that team come together?
Yeah, there's 6 of us right now, I believe. We've had, I think, at one point 8 or 9 of us total on the internal team, but we have, up to like, I think 50 or 55, somewhere around there, different writers spread out around the world that we've worked with previously. As far as me sort of hand curating things, that's really not how it's happened. And again, when I say this thing sort of happened as an accident, I mean that at almost every level. So really where this thing comes from is, and how it came about, is about it's based on my background, sort of how I grew up, the people that I was around and with. I have a very large military family background. 22 family members are either current or former military, so veterans. I also grew up with an indigenous stepfather for 9 years. All of them were consumers. When my uncles were coming back from Vietnam, we had massive PTSD issues in my family, so weed was consumed on a daily basis. It's just a normal way of life. And then during my time with my indigenous stepfather, he was a consumer. And you can say there was I saw a plant or two around the house. And then I also ended up running pounds from Atlanta, Georgia down to Georgia Southern University for years in the 90s to help me pay for my school. So it, afforded my education. So that's the lens in which I operate through within this industry. So you get a lot of grassroots cannabis stuff that way. And that's just how I operate. So everything is sort of about the small mom and pop, equity, legacy, women and veteran-owned cannabis businesses and voices, and giving them a platform that is free, equitable. They can share their stories here. They don't have to pay someone to get into a publication or to be published through a media outlet. We're an independent cannabis publication, an ICP, which is something I coined last year. And what that means is we have no backers. We have no investors, no one telling us what we can and can't do, what we can and can't say, what we can and can't release and when, right? So what that means as this fucking platform is the place for the community of cannabis to come and tell their story. It's that simple. There is no other place like it that exists. When in print media, and the digital media at that, when it comes to cannabis. And that's how we operate. And those stories are, and I think, we got into this, prior to us coming online here. That is what elevates the plant. Those authentic stories that we're able to tell that coincide with why these brands exist is how we elevate the industry and the plant overall, which is our number one goal here. Elevate the plant into its rightful place in society.
I just, the mission statement of elevate the plant is something that I've always kind of said to myself, but never like so eloquently. So I love the fact that you say it like that. And the ICP, right, the independent cannabis publication, we talk pre-show, I run my own company on the other side of the world, what I do for what I do. And that's, we're the same way. We're independently owned by me. I self-funded this. I am the answer. What goes out to the public, what doesn't go out to the public. And along the way, yeah, it's caused me some headaches, right? Big corporations, oh, I don't like this. I don't really give a shit. I don't work for big corporations because I'm not here for them. I'm here for people. Right? When you talk about being a caregiver, my wife and I were growers in Colorado. And when we donated at least half of what we grew to cancer patients within our local market. Friends of ours, people within a dealership that I worked at, kids are sick, whatever. Who cares? Here, take it. No, we want to pay you. No, here, take it. Like, I've already grown it. I've already paid the electric bill. I've already paid the water bill. Don't worry about it.
See,
right?
A lot of people don't realize that's the real cannabis community, right? If we can't share our weed, it doesn't make sense. So cannabis is always exactly. So cannabis, weed has always meant community. That's just how it's always been. So to operate within this industry outside of that way of thinking is sort of detrimental to the industry itself, the plant itself as well. So being able to do, operate in that way where you're kind of plant first, plant forward, always doing a positive. We showcase the plant here in a very positive, helpful, uplifting light, a very positive spirit when it comes to the articles that we share, the way that we talk online on social media and share things about the plant. And we don't even have to, focus or change anything about the way that we do that or the way that we go about our lives. It's because cannabis has always been positive in our lives. Everyone on this team is affected by cannabis in a very positive way, whether it's them personally or family members or whatever the case may be, or it helps them in their daily lives. They get to earn money off of it. They grow it, whatever the case is, right? So that is the case. That's the real authentic story behind cannabis. It's all positive. So that's how we focus our energy into uplifting this plant through positive messaging and dope ass art, stories, and all of that stuff, man.
Yeah, don't forget about the dope ass art. Don't forget about the meaningful stories. Don't forget about the highlighting the businesses. Like I told you pre-show, the Montana edition, now I'm going to Montana. I will be going on pot tourism of Montana because that's now what I want to do. And that's my gig. And so my wife and I have done that kind of tourism trip. We went from, Northern Cali all the way up to Portland and hit everywhere in between and, check places out. And one of the guys we stopped with, he's like, man, this is what we did back in the 80s in Amsterdam. He's like, I think it's so cool you guys were able to do it now, in the US as part of it. But I don't want to make it sound like it's that acceptable or it's that cool because in most places you're still again, I was just in Vegas. Everyone's like, oh yeah, let's just walk down the street, smoke a joint in front of a cop. I'm like, well, yeah, it's Vegas. That might work. But consuming it is still not cool.
You're not supposed to do that.
Right? With the general public. You can buy it, but you better go in your house, lock your door, close your blinds, sit under a blanket, have a groove tube, and then you can get high. And it's like, no. It doesn't have to be like that, right? Like I've been well, they try to kick me out of hotels. A lot of shit's happened because of my use. And I'm not even crazy about it. Like I don't go out of my way to make a scene of it. I try to hide it. But you talked about something, cannabis positive culture. Dude, that is some shit that needs like the most focus, because like I said, people see me, the long hair, the Grateful Dead, the this, the that. They're like, oh, shitless layabout. Like, dude, I run don't even get me started on what I do with my life, what everyone else. We're not just sitting around being lazy. You're running a huge company right now.
They try to fit us into these little holes, man.
The same thing, the pothead, the this, the that. I've been fighting my whole life as a kid. My parents and I had a real conversation with it when I was like 16, where I'm like, look, you're going to find it. You found it. Good. Congratulations. You don't know where the rest is. You're not gonna, and this is part of my life. I'm using it to get rid of the headaches. I don't want to go to the doctor. I don't want to deal with this shit anymore. I just want to be part of the plant, right?
Look, it's up to almost 70% of the country has either consumed or thinks consuming is fine, right? It should be legal in some way. So we're there. The problem is we still have media that, mainstream media that is very much not independent, right? So you get all of these
fear mongering. We still continue with the reefer madness bullshit today. We really do, and it's disgusting to see. So in mainstream, it's unfortunate that it goes from there into our politics too. That vein follows itself all the way down, right? It's a self-fulfilling prophecy for everyone in that circle to feel this way, because when they turn this way, it says it. When they turn that way, it says it. So
100 years of that, by the way. So Hearst Media, just so everyone knows, it was one of the first media groups to really push that reefer madness stuff back in the day. It's unfortunate that they're still around, and they are actually being used by folks in the cannabis industry, which I think is kind of weird. But
Yeah, see,
anyway,
I have a duality problem with that, right? Like I can't approach people who for years tried to put me down, right? Like it's a weird
yeah,
relationship.
it's very odd. And you talked about, it's the same thing with corporate cannabis. And you talked briefly about corporate cannabis.
Yeah, I'm
And
not a
making,
fan. Well, I'm not a fan in the sense that, look, I get it, dude. Capitalism, fuck, a new market, all the money to be made. Like, I get it. It's a green rush. I was in Colorado, dude, before full legalization. It was still cool, man, to grow your own weed. We had,
yeah,
2 bedrooms, 100 fucking plants, doing all this stuff,
yep,
walking into dispensaries, wholesaling ounces, making relationships, having fun, and then boom, it's all over. Everything from seed to sale, the government, everyone's got their finger in it, and it wasn't fun anymore.
yeah.
It wasn't fun anymore.
So, corporate cannabis is going to be here, right? The Walmarts of things are
We're
always
here.
going to be around, and that's
We're here.
fine.
It's fine.
As long as everyone knows what they are. The problem is a lot of them are operating, under a lot of false pretenses,
Yep.
and they are sort of gobbling up money and airspace and lobbying against home grow and caregiver rights and all of that kind of stuff, which is an enormous fucking problem for all of us. So the way that they are operating overall has been detrimental to 99% of the true industry itself, the backbone, the small cannabis operator. That is who is affected the most by corporate cannabis. And then, of course, your patients as well.
Right.
So the way that they are operating is not good. And I think most of us know that. And so that's another reason that this publication exists. So we're able to sort of step on that scale, being independent, having no one to tell us what we can and can't do. Now, we have no real capital over here, no real backing or anything. So everything that we do is through the community. That's our strength. That's our power. And power comes in numbers, right? So when it comes to the cannabis industry itself, it's important that you operate through the community. That gives us a chance to step on that scale and to push back against the mouthpieces, the other media channels that are pushing corporate cannabis nonsense. It gives us a chance to really push back, and it gives the smaller side, the community side, a chance to operate in the same way, sort of along a level playing field when it comes to communicating out important things. So that's a big reason why this publication and media company exists. Again, it's a platform for the community. There are several reasons for that, and that is one. Balancing out the corporate cannabis bullshit is a main part of what we're doing here. Now, we don't talk shit. We don't name names and all that kind of stuff, really. We don't call people out. Again,
They know who they are.
what we're doing is positive. Remember, we approach everything in a positive light. So even if we do call something out, what we tend to do is offer a different way. Here's maybe a better way. Here's partial solution. Maybe this will work. So we're trying to make sure that even if we are pointing something out in the industry that may not be great, here's a way to possibly make it so. So again, positive. We don't need to talk about other people's nonsense around here. We just need to help uplift our community first. And in doing that, people will see where the real good lies, where the great weed really is, where the authentic stories actually live, why they exist, and what those brands, what they mean, what they bring to the space, what they can do to help us all. And a lot of us outside of that corporate cannabis thing that's going on have enormous stories to tell, have amazing products to share, and want to be able to have a platform to do that. We are that platform. I am happy to give the platform basically up to any sort of writer that wants to be here. Obviously, they have to, cut the mustard. But if you can come and write, share those stories, that's what we're here for. And that's a big part of pushing back on the corporate cannabis BS.
Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, you talk about corporate cannabis, the Walmarts of the world. Look, I need Walmart every once in a while, right? I mean, it happens. I roll into a Walmart. I go there. But when I travel, people are always like, oh, you went to here and here? I'm like, no.
Nope.
I don't know. Where I go, what I bring is what I bring. It's how I roll. I've been doing it for 20 years. But the point of me is that, like, I want to get back to the community because, like I said, back when we were doing that grow, it felt great in the community. We were working with each other. When everyone wanted to fight us putting a dispensary in because it was next to a liquor store that was 300 feet away from a school, I love being in that meeting going, what are you talking about? There are 18 liquor stores around this school that don't require what I require to get into my building. How is this even possible? Where I was partnered with growers who are, they're quiet. They just like their plant. They don't want to argue with people. Well, I'm happy to argue with people over nonsense. That doesn't make sense, right? So for you to get into this, to have that level of passion, to start this publication, dude, fucking great job, man. Really. I mean, honestly, you deserve all the applause, all the help. You and your team are doing something that I think is so crucial to the industry at large. I've been in the background, like I said, for a while, and I've been an investor in a couple different spaces and just trying to help people bridge gaps and make things happen. And the reason I invest in people is because of those stories, right? Is because
Exactly.
Like, hey, man, I'm trying to get this dispensary off the ground. I need this last little bit, I kind of specialize in what I call last mile funding. Like if you're this close and you need it, like here, let's get you, let's go,
Yeah.
let's take this chance, right?
Yep.
And people always, oh, Sean, are you serious about this rate? Like, yeah, why? What's wrong? Oh, dude, this is like way off of what we normally be charged. Well, yeah, because you're dealing with like capitalists on the other side who came into our industry. We're like, oh yeah, 30% loans. Watch these guys pay the bills because they don't have their own banks. And you're like, that's not cool. That's not cool at all, So I just really appreciate the authentic approach you take, man.
Yeah, man. Well, and I appreciate what you just said about, and as an independent investor, that's kind of huge in this space, and it's sort of unheard of. So knowing that, mad respect.
Yeah, you got anybody, bring me up, Dustin. Send them in my DMs, bro. I'm happy to vet out any opportunity. We have a fund. We have a bunch of people who believe in the same thing we believe in.
Sure.
We're not. Look, I like what I like, but I'm a businessman. At the end of the day, I still like to make money, but I'm not here to take.
There's nothing wrong with making a profit.
I'm here to take pennies from thousands of people as opposed to millions from singles of people, if that makes any sense. Like, I'm happy to take a penny jar. I don't need to be the give me all of it to prove to you that I'm wonderful. Yep. I mean, plus, it's such an emerging space, right? Like, you're dealing with so much bullshit in the emerging space of like consultants, right? Some of these dispensaries going out and hiring people who don't know the first fucking thing about a grow, about an operation, about the business, but someone convinced them of otherwise. You can see so many bad decisions being made. It's the same thing for when I started in the car business. I mean, I grew up in the car business alongside the digital aspect, right? Like I used to get faxed internet leads, right? To give you some context, like people were submitting things on the internet, but I was only able to get it via fax. So that's how early it was. But you see these same things happen with emerging markets from your position, where you sit. What's the biggest concern about what the emerging market, what negative does it bring with it that people should be, sort of on the peripheral, really realizing that this part of the industry isn't as it appears for us?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I think everyone has to be aware that there are the quick rich, get those, the quick money guys, right? The people who come in and talk a big show, but they've never had their hands in the dirt. They've never sold a dime in their life. They don't know what actual real weed is. Those are the big concerns. And guess what? Those are the people running corporate cannabis. If you fucking
that's what I meant, dude. I said,
you know what I mean?
What I meant was just some of these executives I see like, in some of these places where I'm like, wait a second. Somebody drug test this motherfucker, because I don't think
he doesn't. He's not smoking, dude.
Yeah, dude. And it's not even like that. It's just like the way you speak about it, the way you approach it is just, it's not authentic.
It's very commodified, right? It's very commodified.
It's very business. Like I said, there's plenty of ways to make money. That doesn't mean you have to rip people off, be an asshole, treat people like dirt. None of those things are true at all. And I think you shouldn't also run against it.
You shouldn't be taking millions of dollars when your employees aren't really getting paid living wages, right? Millions and millions.
And
your
stock's worth a fucking dime now because everyone thought it was worth $12. You convinced everyone it was. Now it's worth 30 cents.
It's garbage.
You still make money.
Exactly. It's ridiculous. Right. And you know what? On the flip side, so myself included, my entire team, we're all volunteers, dude. None of us have ever had a real paycheck here, ever. And so how this works is
you have to walk me through the economics, like I just told you. I'm like, hold on a second now. This isn't even your job. You're the Hugh Hefner of weed who's not making any money or sleeping with the models?
This is my job. I do this 12 hours a day, every single day. I've done it from scratch. I've never made a single penny from this fucking publication. Here's how it works. As we continue to grow, when I first made this, I was doing it by myself. I pulled in a few people here and there. When it came to advertising, I was like, here, let's just do this. Come with me. It's free. Come on, just come join me. And that lasted for 1 or 2 editions. And then I started to have some people like super interested because they saw what I was building and I was doing. Yeah. So as we bring advertisers in, what we're doing, that advertising money pays for our print edition. Any leftover money we have from that is what the team gets to split, period. It can cost me up to 10 G's to print this magazine. I know you don't have any hard copies, but this magazine is the highest quality magazine you will find. Most other magazines are fairly flimsy and garbage. This is not. It will live on your coffee table forever as a piece of art. I promise you that. So it's very expensive for me to get this done. Plus we have, we print thousands of copies. Not like I'm printing 10 copies over here. So we also don't do pay to play shit here, which means I won't allow a company to come in here and bully us with their money and say, I want to get my CEO on the front cover and an advertorial inside the magazine. Not going to fucking do it. That means I won't allow people like, well, and here's another reason. Anyone that has ever lobbied against homegrown and caregiver rights, they're not allowed to advertise here, period. So what that does with those two.
We got to make sure I get that list though. You should text me that list.
I'm about to tell you right now.
They don't come on the show. They don't like, I don't.
There's more than what I'm about to tell you, but these are the main ones. So there's 2 reasons. It's, homegrown and caregiver rights lobbying, and I don't do pay to play shit, which means I won't allow you to pay me to write about you or to get you on the front cover or whatever.
Right.
So that means Curaleaf, Cresco, Trulieve, GTI. Those are the companies that aren't allowed to advertise here. They're just not. And me allowing someone like that in, knowing that they've lobbied against homegrown and caregiver rights in certain states, would completely disrespect where I came from growing up. Are you fucking kidding me?
And forget that, what you believe in, man. What the core of you is, why you started.
That's who I am.
Yeah, so, I do the same shit on my side of the auto world, man. People, you're not allowed on my show to do anything, to advertise anything. I take no sponsors over there. I do none of that stuff over there because I don't need other people involved trying to tell me how I'm going to run my organization and not add value. Just to pay for something, put your face on it, do this, do that. Like, no thanks, dude. And I won't let my own brand be involved in people who say to me, "Hey, Sean, we'll put you on the cover of such and such magazine if you can write us a check," and be like, get out of here, dude. I need it to be authentic. I belong on the cover of the magazine because I'm better than who you had on there last month.
Bingo. Or you have something good that you're contributing to the community or the industry. You've done something.
Exactly. No one should have to come to you. All right, so hold on. We're not done with the economics. So you do.
Oh yeah, let me tell you.
Advertisers, they take you through it. Whatever's left over, you pay the team. You're doing this 12 hours a day. I don't want to get too personal with you. Stop me if I do. But are you independently wealthy? Do you have?
No.
Are you sitting on a DuckTales amount of cash?
I have a sugar mama at this point. So. Okay. So my partner, we built another company that she runs, that she's been running for the past few years. It's called Cecily Skincare. She's one of the highest rated licensed medical estheticians in the entire state. She's been in the industry for 17 years. She is a master at what she does. So the company that we built together for her is what really, helps me put food on the table.
Okay. Perfect.
So but this is how I continue to build this. Our partnerships are growing. We are constantly having new advertising partners in. This music edition will be the largest we've ever had. Our distribution is growing, which is where we really will see the money influx. So here's the economics of it on the distribution side. There are about 15 to 20,000 dispensaries alone in the U.S. That doesn't include all the other retailers, the gas stations, it doesn't matter.
The CBDs of the world, whatever.
Right? Smoke shops, glass shops, doesn't matter, right? We're not even talking about those, which are in the hundreds of thousands once you include gas stations in this fucking country. And gas stations, I'd be happy to have this thing in gas stations, brother. Just like all the other publications when I was a kid, I was like, ooh, can I get my hands on that?
Yeah. So what do we got to do to make that happen? Is it a matter of conversation? Is it a matter?
Conversation is all it takes. It takes talking to the right people, and it takes money for me to be able to do that as well. So this is where, I'm doing this the slow way, the manageable way, the way that I know that I can keep my hands around it and say, okay, we can handle this. Let's take this on. This is done properly. We've got the additions going. We're going and out. We have a schedule. We're just doing this slow and doing it right. So as the advertising money continues to come in and it grows, and it does, this is our biggest one yet, our music edition. That means that also on the distribution side, that grows. That's where the money comes in. So we'll say 15 to 20,000 dispensaries alone. Let's just say let's just talk about 1,000 dispensaries. So less than 1%, right?
Yeah.
Okay. One box for 1,000 dispensaries every time I release an edition.
Which is monthly, bi-monthly?
Every other month. So we release about 6 a year. This year, we're going to release 7.
Okay.
So
is the hope to grow that to a monthly publication? Given
if I can. Most publications are quarterly, by the way. When High Times first started back in the 70s, it was in 80s, it was quarterly. And so I'm doing this every 2 months. So
I love it.
So, and it gives us an opportunity to make money here eventually, and doing it the right way. Yeah. I can do this without pay to play bullshit. I can do this honestly. And this is how it's done, dude. So 1,000 locations. I don't care if it's a dispensary, your mom's backyard, a fucking gas station.
Doesn't matter. 1,000 places take one box a month.
One box is $150. That includes free shipping. It comes with 40 copies. That's $3.75 a copy.
Bro, what do you need? What do you need? You need boots on the ground? What do you need from me? I mean, this is ridiculous. That's an easy. I can walk up to a CBD shop down the street and go, "Hey, you want the baddest fucking thing on earth right now? Check this out, bro. Let me
check it out, dude.
$150 for a box?
There's 40 copies. Free, exactly. So
people.
This is how, dude, and this is how you can really quote unquote sell it into other retailers and dispensaries. It's the perfect gift for anyone that comes in and spends $75 to $100 for you to say thank you. Slide in your fucking flyer, offer, coupon, slide into the magazine, hand it over to your customer, create loyalty that way instead of giving them a fucking shitty $2 pre-roll that no one wants to be associated with.
$22 a head, basically, right? At 40 magazine, what is that, like $25? Whatever it comes out through the math on the per magazine. Well, the 150 divided by 40, was that $3 you said?
$3.75.
A copy.
A copy.
Dude,
you can sell it for $5
right there for the fucking. I would go back to that dispensary for the rest of my life if that was my to-go package every other month. They were
Thank you.
Hey, thanks a lot. Have a nice day, dude.
And that's just one box.
That's real thinking,
per location. So do that math. One box times $150, right? So you do that math every time we release it, then multiply that by 6, brother. So that's where the money will come on the back end. There's a way to build this so that, dude, if I had 5,000 locations carrying this throughout the fucking world, guess what? This publication and media company would squash every corporate cannabis mouthpiece that we have in this industry. I promise you that.
Dude, I'm in. I'm gonna, like I said, I picked you to be guest number 1 on this show for a reason. I want people to hear this. I want people to understand, because we're going to be distributing this like wild. Our approach is to just take the distro funnel and just fire hoses, baby, everywhere. So when this goes live, you are going to see it everywhere. And I want people to hear it, man. If you run a dispensary, look at a dispensary, have visited a dispensary, for my consumer friends, ask your dispensary why they don't carry Fat Nugs Magazine. Ask them where it's at, and then see if you can start the discussion, because this is what we're talking about: elevating the plant, building a community. So your economics make sense. You don't have investors, but if you needed any help, you should let me know, because I'm beyond interested at this point. All right. So we're gonna table that side. We have the background to Dustin. We know why he's here. We know what gets him up in the morning. But I'm interested. Nope. Go ahead.
Can I get one shout out before we move on for the
Please,
dispensary side of this? I have had one dispensary group come to me and say, dude, and get it. One. Now, don't get me wrong. We've been in 200 some odd dispensaries since we started, 20 months ago. It's been here and there, right? So a dispensary will buy a box. Sometimes this dispensary might buy a box on this one or whatever. But overall, we've been in at some point over 200 dispensaries. But we only have one true dispensary partner. That is Embark. I'm actually wearing the shirt today. So they came to us. So they came to me. And really, we came to each other. We kind of, through some different channels and some connections and stuff, we kind of came together and met and talked about what their approach is to the industry, what our approach is to the industry. And it absolutely met 100%. And they get what it is that we're doing. And they said, we want to be your dispensary partner. We will have boxes, probably multiple boxes, in every single one of our locations every time you release going forward. And they even said this: do we have to sell it? And I almost lost my shit, because I've never heard anyone say that to me, because I'm the one that's usually saying that. And they go, we just want to give it away as a thank you. And I was like, oh my God, you fucking get it. Thank you, Lord. You understand what we're doing. So, because what they're doing is helping to spread the positive messages that are in that publication. That's the number one goal here.
Come on, man. Like that, your Friday stuff, bro. When you wake up, people posting your shit all over the fucking world. Like, you don't need nothing else. Even if your wife didn't love you that day, you'd feel loved. It wouldn't matter to you. I feel loved for you, and it's not even my fucking magazine.
I appreciate that, brother.
Yeah, dude. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And now you're the merch side. For Embark, where are the locations? Where are they?
They're in California right now. They have 9 or 10 locations right now. They'll have 12 by the end of the year and 20 by the end of next year. So
all
they
in
have.
Cali?
I believe they're all in Cali, but don't quote me on that. I know all the current locations, I believe, are in Cali, but I don't know if their growth plans are going outside of the state.
I know MSOs can be a little corporate cannabis. All right. I'm not going to lie to you, but as a guy who lives in a non-applicable state that I do live in, which is not fun. But I live here now. So.
Multi-state operators does not mean that you're a shit company. What makes you a shit company is your C-suite, your approach to the plant, your approach to your people, all of that kind of stuff, right? It isn't
being a big business. It's being a big shitty business. There are plenty of good big businesses in the world that try to support and uplift and do shit. Yeah. They're not all just, capitalist pigs.
Exactly.
To that extent. So
if we have a company like Embark that is able to sort of explode and have 20 locations and they're in multiple states, guess what? That's what you want, because they have a community approach. All of the brands that they carry in their locations are small, mom and pop, local, blah, all of that stuff. That's what we fucking need in this industry.
That's what I need. That's what I love.
Got it.
Yeah, that's what I love to go into, man, and see these shops. I don't like going to the ones in Vegas, bro, is gross. Like, it is the most ridiculous consumer experience in the world. People are like, oh my God, this is so cool. I'm like, this sucks. Get me out of here. Like, I'll never pay that. I'll never pay that. That sucks, by the way. Like, you just go through and you see how people view or how they platform. And that was what it was like in the beginning. Like I said, when it was just medical dispensaries, dude. That was that mom and pop feel. That's where you could walk in, sit with the dude and go,
talk, see the flower, smell the flower, look at the fucking flower, hold the damn flower. I would walk
in with my jars to sell, right? We all got I still got my whole closet's jars, bro. I mean, you get it, you snip it, you change it, and you can't even do that shit anymore. It's these weird tester things. It's all
weird laws and shit.
That's also, it's like hospital, like it's all so clean and like has to be. That's so lame. So
Which, you know what, in certain aspects, I understand, right? Because it is, people do very much consider it only medicine. And I understand that. That's our culture, right? Clean everything all the time, bleach, 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 all of that stuff. I get it. But at the same time, people also need to realize that it is a plant, where it comes from, how it's grown. All of us have been consuming this thing for thousands of years and we never had it tested. So it's important to kind of realize and keep it in perspective. Now,